The sky had that strange orange glow again, the kind I had come to associate with restless nights and missing pets. Max, my golden retriever, had vanished 3 days ago. I had combed the neighborhood, posted online alerts, and called the shelters, but no one had seen him. Every time I opened the door, I half expected him to bound toward me, tail wagging, only to be met with silence. I sat on the porch one evening, staring at the horizon, the faint hum of a distant hover car breaking the stillness. Then I heard a sound I thought I would never hear again, a bark. It was weak and strained, but unmistakably Max. My heart leapt. I ran toward the sound, following it down the cracked sidewalks of my neighborhood. And then I saw them. Max was limping, dragging his back leg slightly. Clutched in his jaws, not roughly, but carefully, was someone I could barely comprehend at first. A woman, but not human. Her skin shimmered faintly, iridescent under the orange twilight. Her eyes were too large, too bright, and her hair seemed almost liquid in its motion, shifting colors as if it were aware of the light. Her clothes, or whatever covered her, looked alive, like a membrane that moved with her breathing. I froze, unsure whether to scream, run, or call someone. Max gently dropped her on the ground and nuzzled her, whimpering. She groaned softly, a sound like wind through metal tubes. Help me, she rasped. It was English, or something close enough that my brain interpreted it. My instincts overrode fear. I approached cautiously, crouching beside her. Are you okay? Can you move? She shook her head, her eyes glimmering with pain. I noticed a jagged tear along her shoulder, the membrane of her suit ripped, exposing pale, bluish skin underneath. Blood, strange, dark purple blood, oozed from the wound. I have to hide, she whispered urgently. They're coming. I didn't know what they meant, but the urgency in her voice left no room for hesitation. I scooped her gently into my arms and carried her into the garage. Max followed, circling nervously, as if guarding us both. Inside, I set her down on a blanket. She flinched when I tried to examine the wound. I grabbed my first aid kit. I don't know what you are, but I'm going to help you, I said softly. Her eyes widened. Why, you're human, she said, almost like a revelation. I am, I admitted. And you need help. Can you tell me your name? She hesitated. Leora. Leora. I repeated. Okay. Leora, can you tell me what happened? She shivered, and I realized she was probably cold. I ran and grabbed a blanket, wrapping it around her fragile form. Her skin emitted a faint warmth, but it wasn't enough. They attacked us, the patrols, my people. I escaped, but I cannot go back, she murmured. My mind raced. Alien? Patrols? Her people? It sounded like something out of a movie. But her injuries, the way she moved, even the way she breathed, it was real. And so was Max. Over the next hour, I cleaned her wound as best I could with the antiseptic. The membrane-like suit complicated things, but I carefully cut around the damaged area. She flinched but didn't resist, instead letting out soft, musical hums that vibrated faintly in the air. I had never heard anything like it, a sound almost like a lullaby, but with an undertone of alarm. You're safe here, I told her. No one will find you. She closed her eyes and nodded, finally allowing herself to relax, though every few seconds she would glance toward the garage door, alert and tense. I needed answers. How did you end up with Max? I asked. She glanced at him and whispered, He saved me. You call him Dog? I nodded, smiling weakly. Yes, Max. He's been missing too. They hurt him, tried to take him, she said, her voice barely audible. I couldn't let them. I realized then that this wasn't just a coincidence. Max had found her, dragged her to safety, and risked himself in the process. My heart swelled. My dog wasn't just brave, he was heroic. Over the next few days, I hid her in the small spare room above the garage. I learned a little more about her. Leora came from a planet called Arion, in a system several light years from Earth. Her people were explorers, but some of their kind had been captured by another faction during a diplomatic mission. She had escaped during a raid, but was gravely injured. I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. I had an alien woman in my home, injured, terrified, and Max wouldn't leave her side. He would curl up next to her, whining softly whenever she stirred in pain. But hiding her wasn't going to be enough. I needed a plan, and I needed it fast. One night, while Leora slept, I examined her suit more closely. The tear on her shoulder revealed strange circuitry embedded in the membrane, almost like it was alive, responding to her body. I realized then that she wasn't just an alien. She was technologically integrated in a way that humans couldn't understand. The next morning, she awoke with a start, sensing something. They're near," she whispered, panic flashing across her face. I grabbed my phone. I considered calling the authorities, but a sudden wave of doubt struck me. "No, if they catch you, they won't understand," I said. "We'll have to figure it out ourselves." She nodded, her eyes wet. They will come for me. You must prepare. Humans may help or may harm." That was when I realized the truth. Earth was a sanctuary for her, but not necessarily a safe one. The first attack came at night. Shadows flitted across the garage windows, and I heard the distinct metallic scraping of weapons outside. I motioned for Leora to stay down while Max ran toward the door, barking ferociously. The intruders weren't human. They moved with unnatural speed, their limbs almost skeletal, their armor glinting under the streetlights. I grabbed a baseball bat and swung it at the first one who tried to break in. Surprisingly, it staggered them, but didn't stop them. Leora's eyes glowed faintly as she whispered something I didn't understand. The suit reacted, extending small tendrils that shot out and knocked one of the intruders back. I watched, stunned. Her body and suit were a weapon, and yet she had refused to use them fully until absolutely necessary. The fight was over in minutes. The intruders retreated, leaving scorched marks and shattered glass behind. Leora collapsed, exhausted. I ran to her side. "You saved me," she said. Her voice was hoarse, but filled with gratitude. "And you helped him. Max brave." I knelt beside them both. "We'll figure this out. Together." For the next few weeks, we became a strange, unbreakable team. Leora healed under my care. Max remained her guardian, and I learned to understand her needs, her alien physiology, and her language. Slowly, she regained strength, but the danger never truly disappeared. Through whispered transmissions and her growing control of her suit's functions, we learned that the faction hunting her was an interstellar syndicate, merciless and far-reaching. They had tracked her across star systems, and now, Earth was their latest target. We decided we had no choice. We had to escape. Using Leora's suit, we modified a small hovercraft I had in the garage. She could interface with it, controlling shields and propulsion systems beyond human comprehension. Max sat alertly at her side as I clambered in, hands shaking with anticipation. The night we left, the orange sky burned with clouds, thick and turbulent. The intruders arrived shortly after we took off, but the craft moved faster than any human machine could. Leora guided us expertly, weaving through cityscapes and into the open sky. Once we cleared the atmosphere, she pointed to a distant nebula. "Safe there," she said. Her eyes softened, hope returning. And for the first time since she had arrived, I allowed myself to feel it. Relief. But also awe. We weren't just running for survival. We were about to journey to a new world, to a place where humans were strangers and the cosmos stretched endlessly before us. Max barked, wagging his tail, as if he understood every word. Leora smiled faintly, reaching out to pet him gently. "You brave dog," she said, her voice full of warmth. "And you, humankind." The stars stretched infinitely ahead of us. I glanced at her, then at Max. The universe was no longer just a void of emptiness and fear. It was full of allies, courage, and the promise of new beginnings. As we approached the nebula, I realized something profound. In a single week, my life had transformed entirely. A missing dog, an injured alien, and a human willing to help had intertwined destinies that now span the galaxy. I wasn't just a bystander anymore. I was part of something far greater than myself. And though danger still lingered, I knew one truth. Wherever we went, we would face it together. Max, Leora, and me, bound by loyalty, compassion, and the unbreakable threads of fate. For the first time in a long time, I smiled, knowing that sometimes the universe works in mysterious, extraordinary ways.